We might make it through the end of that.
Take 3.
Good morning, everyone. I am Jerry, and this is my wife, Joy.
Morning.
Today is October the 2nd. We're in a new month now, and we're going to continue our discussion of Proverbs. We're in chapter 6 today, but first of all, I want to thank everyone. I mean everyone. There was a slew of people that wished me a happy birthday. I was astounded, actually, at the number of comments we got for that video. It was a great video, I'll admit, but it was amazing, the number of people that commented about that. But again, I want to say thank you for that. I appreciate that a great deal. It means a lot when you get to be 76 years old.
It does.
And, so anyway, I appreciate it a great deal. But today we're going to talk about a couple of different things. We're going to go from chapter 6, verse 1 through 11, which
In Proverbs.
Yeah, in Proverbs, which discusses a couple of different things that are relevant to today. Actually, this stuff is relevant forever, actually.
It really is.
There's a couple of things here we're going to discuss. We would have gone farther today, except the next part of this gets into some very detailed stuff that's going to take some time to go through. But anyway, I'm going to read this out of the King James Version to get started. And it says in chapter 6, verse 1, My son, if thou be surety for thy friend, if thou hast stricken thy hand with a stranger, thou art snared with the words of thy mouth, thou art taken with the words of thy mouth. Do this now, my son, and deliver thyself when thou art come into the hand of thy friend. Go humble thyself and make sure thy friend. Give not sleep to thine eyes, nor slumber to thine eyelids. Deliver thyself as a roe from the hand of the hunter, and as a bird from the hand of the fowler. Now, Joy's going to read these in a minute from the other two versions.
Out of understandable version.
Yeah, because
I didn't get any of that.
that's a little hard to understand. But anyway.
There was a hunter and a bird in there.
The next part of this is from verse 6 on. It says, Go to the ant, thou sluggard, consider her ways and be wise, which having no guide, overseer, or ruler, provideth her meat in the summer and gathereth her food in the harvest. How long wilt thou sleep, O sluggard? When wilt thou arise out of thy sleep? Yet a little sleep, a little slumber, a little folding of the hands to sleep. So shall thy poverty come, as one that travelleth, and thy want as an armed man. Now, Joy will read these out of these other two.
Yes, because to me that was way too much King James English, and I really didn't understand it very much.
The first part of that was
Even that, it's not, I don't know.
No,
Anyway, you all tell me what you think, because I'm going to read it out of this version. I think it's much more understandable. Now I'm going to read it out of the Living Bible first, and then maybe we'll do the New International. Proverbs 6, verse 1. Son, if you endorse a note for someone you hardly know, guaranteeing his debt, you are in serious trouble. You may have trapped yourself by your agreement. Quick, get out of it if you possibly can. Swallow your pride. Don't let embarrassment stand in the way. Go and beg to have your name erased. Don't put it off. Do it now. Don't rest until you do. If you can get out of this trap, you have saved yourself like a deer that escapes from a hunter, or a bird from the net. Take a lesson from the ants, you lazy fellow. Learn from their ways and be wise. For though they have no king to make them work, yet they labor hard all summer gathering food for the winter. But you, all you do is sleep. When will you wake up? Let me sleep a little longer. Sure, just a little more. And as you sleep, poverty creeps upon you like a robber and destroys you. Want attacks you in full armor. Now to me that is just as plain as the nose on your face. 2 ways to lose your hard-earned money. 2 ways right there. Very good. We actually know cases where somebody did sign an agreement with a person and lost hundreds of thousands. Let me see, Jerry wanted me to look at it here. I think it's really more understandable than the one I just read.
Well, it is, really.
Yeah. Go to the ant, you sluggard, consider its ways and be wise. It has no commander, no overseer or ruler. It does have a queen, however. Yet it stores its provisions in summer and gathers its food at harvest. Yeah, so it's pretty much the same in both these versions, but
Yeah.
I think it's very, very understandable.
You gotta understand, in the ant kingdom, the queen is not there to do any ruling or anything. She's just there to
To be
reproduce more
fed.
ants.
Yeah.
It's a totally different thing.
But 2 ways and 2 wonderful
Lessons.
descriptions to keep you from making these mistakes. It's very good because we actually know of cases, very, very sad cases where people went into business with someone and it did not work out.
Yeah, and where this really becomes an issue is when family members, get involved in this kind of thing, and this can really create some real problems in a family, like a son, for example, or daughter,
Or a brother.
or brother, or whatever.
We've been there with a brother.
Wants to buy a car, or wants to buy something, or wants to go out on some venture or whatever, and
Yeah.
he
Yeah.
wants the father or the mother or
Yeah.
both or someone to co-sign the note for him or her to accomplish this. Well, this is very true on here. You should not do that, honestly. It may seem like it's being cruel to the son or the daughter or the brother or whoever, but the truth is, if you have to borrow money from a neighbor or a friend or your father, your mother, whatever, I personally feel like you should not buy whatever you want, okay? If you
And we've
want
had
to-
this happen in our own life.
Oh,
Hello.
yeah, and I've seen,
Yeah.
I've seen
Oh, yeah.
so many families get torn apart by this
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Yes.
And really, if you really want to help someone, just
Yeah.
give them the cash or whatever it is. It depends on how much it is, obviously.
Right.
But if you can afford it, do that. But I think you understand what I'm trying to say. It just creates a problem between you and them, okay? And that can go on for years afterwards.
Yeah, still going on.
And I've
Let
seen,
me point out one thing that the scripture says. It says, if you endorse a note for someone you hardly know.
oh, yeah.
I think there are cases when you have children who have worked very hard, who have been responsible, who have made right choices. I think then, my father did it for me. After my first husband left me and never paid me 1 penny child support, and my car was a total complete wreck, or he took it, I don't remember what, but anyway, I was desperate for a car. And my dad did sign for me to buy a car. But I paid the payments on that every single month. I paid him back every single penny. I never missed a payment, and I was totally, totally honorable about that. And then, after that happened, I had my credit established. You all know how that works. And I never had to borrow a penny from anybody ever again. So I think there are cases when you're talking about family where it can work. And the Bible does say here, endorse a note for someone you hardly know.
I know.
So,
But it can also lead to a lot of problems. But if this person,
yeah,
brother, sister, daughter, son, whatever, has proven themselves to be
Exactly.
honest and hardworking and those types of things, and you agree that what they're trying to get involved in is needed by that person, then yes, you might do something like that. But in so many cases, though, it's not like that. Somebody just wants something, and so they don't have the means nor the money to buy it.
yeah,
And it usually comes down to a car or something like this, and it's maybe a car that is some type of sports car or something that costs 10 times
Yeah.
what, really they could get
Yeah.
along without.
Right.
Then I don't think it's.
That's right, I agree.
I would not co-sign a note for that.
Well,
kind of thing.
and then people make the mistake of, if they number one have the ability to loan a large amount of money, and this person wants to start a business, person number one feels like, okay, I'll help you start the business, let's be partners. Oh boy, that's where it can really go.
And
way
that actually
astray.
went south in our family.
Well, in so many families I know of.
Yeah, it did, and that's created some hardships in our family.
Yeah.
We've actually done this, so we totally understand
Yeah.
this. And it didn't turn out well.
No.
And that is a constant reminder even to this day
Yeah.
in this family about those type of things.
Yeah.
So I totally understand where Solomon's coming from here.
Yes.
Now we get to the next point in this about the ant.
Yeah.
And how the ant doesn't need an overseer, doesn't need a king or a queen or whatever, he just goes out and does his thing and he works. He gets up in the morning, he doesn't stay sleeping wherever they're at, he gets up, goes out, gets his food, does what he's supposed to do, prepares himself for winter to come, he goes out and prepares for that. In other words, he gets up and he works.
Yeah.
And he works for a purpose, and that's for self-preservation. And today, I would venture to guess that over half, I know from statistics that I read, that over more than 50% of the American public rely upon the government for their subsistence. And I've also been in a lot of people's homes that are on welfare.
Oh, yeah.
And I have seen for myself, I remember one client of mine that I was working with to get an electric wheelchair for. I went to their home and it was like 11 o'clock in the morning. And this is a poor home. You don't have, it's not hard to figure out when you walk up to the front door. And
Well, when you drive up on the road in front of
they
it.
drive up in the road in front of them. But anyway, they are on welfare. Well, now, the lady that I was helping with, it was her home, okay, and I could understand her. She was in a wheelchair. She had an issue, obviously, and I can understand that. But there was two people in bed when I got there that were young people. I don't know what relationship they were to her, maybe a son, daughter, whatever. It wasn't a son or
You
daughter.
mean like adults or little children?
No, they were adults.
They were
They were in their 20s.
Yeah.
But they're still in bed at 11 o'clock in
Yeah.
the morning, and they're not making any effort to go work, do anything, And so and I've seen this over and over and over and over again. I was in a home in Oklahoma City one time, which was a very nice black lady that needed assistance. She had to have, another wheelchair or something, I forget what it was. But there was at least a half a dozen of young adults in there. These were not children, these were young adults in
Living
there,
on her welfare.
living off of this poor lady's subsistence.
Yes.
But the government creates that, okay, in our country. Now, honestly, that wasn't their intention in the government. It was to help people, but as you well know, this thing feeds upon itself. The whole welfare system in America feeds upon itself.
Yes.
These people are brought up in the welfare system. And so they get to the point where they don't think they should
They
work
don't
or
have to work, they think you go to work and support my kids.
Yeah.
And the more kids I have, the more money I'll get.
And it's very true. Now, I'm not saying that all people on
Right.
welfare are like that.
Right.
Please don't get me wrong.
Don't get us wrong.
There are a lot of people that need that and deserve that, okay? Because they do honestly have to survive. And the only way they do that is through the welfare system. I'm not knocking that, but it's just
No.
the
The
people.
abuse involved.
The abuse of it is so
And how
ridiculous.
young people take advantage of
They
the
do.
older people and just use them and abuse them.
So,
I've seen it too. I went with Jerry a few times and I just left in tears.
yeah. And so basically, and even God says, if you don't work, you don't eat, okay? Now, obviously, there are some people that can't work. Now, he's not talking about those type of people. He's talking about
People
normal,
who can.
healthy adults. And even teenagers, you know, teenagers can find work.
That's right.
McDonald's,
Or they can work
whatever.
around home,
Or do whatever, you know,
whatever.
they don't need to be laying in
they
bed
can
till
wash
11
the
o'clock
car,
in the
empty
morning.
the trash, do
Yeah,
the
a lot of
dishes,
things to work at.
whatever. They need to be taught responsibility, and they need to be taught how to work.
And then when he talks about in here, a little sleep, a little slumber.
Yeah,
And the next thing you know, poverty comes knocking at their door. And this is exactly how it happens.
really true.
You know? And it's all, you know, I'll give my parents credit for one thing. They taught me good work ethic.
Yeah,
I mean, you know, we worked. I mean, we were on a farm. People that live on farms know what it is to live on a farm and work, because you work
early in the morning.
till
Right.
sometimes after dark.
There's no sleep until noon.
Yeah, right.
I can't get over the young people that don't even get out of bed until 10, 11 o'clock in the morning. It's just shocking.
I know it is. But then, of course, you get involved in the whole drug situation too,
Yeah.
which this is another instance where Satan has so much power in this country is the use of drugs, because the drugs, let's take marijuana for example, which is
The
so,
I don't care drug.
yeah, so prevalent today. It literally destroyed the life of one of my brothers.
Both of them, really.
Well,
That and alcohol.
that and alcohol, but those two things, yes, literally destroyed them, because they get to the point where they don't care about anything. And marijuana right now today is so prevalent,
Yeah,
being such a medical cure,
not.
it's ridiculous, because I venture to guess that probably less than 2% of the people need medical marijuana.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
right.
And the states involved in this want the tax revenue that comes off of the sale of marijuana, and that's why they approve of such stuff. You know, it's not from a medical standpoint, it's from tax revenue, because you have all this, and this is my own personal opinion, but they have all of this stuff going on out here, you know, drug dealers selling things to other people for cash and all this, all those things could be taxed, you know, if they legalize it, and that's what they're doing. But the problem with it is, it creates in their minds, they become sluggards, okay, because they don't have the, they have the ability
It
to work.
destroys their ambition. It destroys their self-esteem. It
Yeah, it
destroys everything that God put in a person. And I believe, my opinion is a little different than yours. I believe the government wants people on this stuff.
That could
Because
be true.
then they don't have to worry about them going out and voting for the wrong party.
That is very true.
Or
too.
standing up against abortion, or they don't even get out of bed. How are they going to do anything?
That's true.
So
But it
we've seen it a lot in our own family, so I guess I'm a little bit bitter about it. I guess I'm a lot bitter about it. It actually killed my first husband.
yeah.
Yeah.
So we've had issues, and we still have issues today in our family with the drug issues, you know.
Yeah.
And not for my brothers, because of both of
They're
them
dead.
are deceased now,
Yeah.
you know. And so we've seen firsthand exactly what is, you know, what's caused by drug use.
Yeah.
And
the reason I think, a lot of the reason so many businesses are going out of business is they can't get employees. Why? We got a marijuana shop, some are 2 or 3 in one block, all the way from here to Durant and here to Medill. Oh my gosh, they got all kinds of names, got the big green cross on them, and they're just, you could just walk between 3, 4, 5 of them. And I don't know how it works. I don't know if you can go in one and get a gallon of it and the next one and get 2 gallons. I have no idea. We've never
Well,
used it.
it's not
I don't know
controlled.
how it works. There's no control.
It's not
And
controlled,
so,
for sure.
down here, we've got businesses that are shutting down left and right because they can't get employees.
yeah.
And all these marijuana shops. So, I just
But
think
anyway, we got off on this
tragic.
because it turns people into sluggards.
That's right. So we're talking about the Bible here, the sluggard.
Yeah. They just don't
Yeah.
want to go out and work. Their ambition is gone.
Yeah.
You know, it
It says it
requires.
destroys you.
Yeah, it does. And poverty cometh.
And we have watched it happen so much. Jerry watched it happen so much in our business because he was very face to face with a lot of these people, and a lot of them were in their condition because maybe they were driving drunk and they were in a bad wreck and now they're paralyzed from the neck down, or they were having a party when they were teenagers and they were drinking too much and they dived in the swimming pool or dived in the creek or the whatever and broke their neck, and now they're paralyzed from the neck down. And we saw a lot of stuff like that, and it's just tragic.
But anyway, the gist of this whole story is today that we talked about being surety for another person, regardless of what it is. You don't want to do that.
Two good things to know.
You know, unless it's a case where, like I said, someone is very, what do I want to say?
Responsible,
Yeah,
and has proven in
someone
their
very
past.
responsible
Yeah.
and work hard and all that kind of thing. Yeah, you can help them out,
But still, I wouldn't go into business with them.
no, because that's another issue, and
Yeah. Also, be willing to give it to them if it comes to that, or you're going to spend the rest of your life angry and bitter and having no relationship with that person.
you have to be forgiving in those cases.
Yeah.
You know, you do. But anyway, now that we've depressed all of you,
There's the ants. Did y'all ever watch some of those videos, National Geographic or whoever they are, of the ants? It's just amazing, amazing. It's ants, bees, squirrels. It's like the whole animal kingdom. They're so much better than people these days. I don't think they're having transgenders and ants standing up hollering, "I feel like being a boy today." And the queen standing up and saying, "Well, I've decided I'm going to be a man." It just seems like there's so much more organized and more faithful and such hard workers.
I think he referred to the ant here, because if you look at, honestly, some of those National Geographic videos of ants and how they help one another, I mean, there's a gazillion ants out here, okay, doing something. And you'll see them in long trails carrying stuff. And sometimes if they have to go over an obstacle, the ants themselves hug each other together until they form a bridge.
It's amazing.
And the other ants walk across on top of them to get where they want to go. It is amazing if humans would, get together and work like that.
That's right.
It would be amazing.
And if humans would submit to God and biblical principles, like a bumblebee submits to the queen. We have watched, you probably all watch them too, and I don't know if it's National Geographic, I think it's YouTube, and it's people that keep bees. And we have seen wasp nest, wasp or bees, huge, huge, giant nest. And the people call this bee guy and say, "Oh my gosh, we have this huge bee nest, come get it down." And the man comes bare hands, bare face, and he just grabs these bees and he pulls them over here and he puts them on the table and he searches through them until he finds the queen. Then he takes the queen and he takes her and he puts her over here in this stack of boxes or something he brought there, and he moves the queen, and these bees leave where they are and they go to where that queen is. It is phenomenal. Phenomenal. I thought if people would just follow God like that, oh my gosh, what a different world this would be.
Yeah. There's a lot of lessons we can gain
Oh yes.
from wildlife.
Yeah.
But anyway, we won't get into that. What we're dealing with here is human beings, but there's a lot to be learned from the ants.
Yeah.
They're not laying off over here in their den or whatever, asleep.
Right, and the squirrels, we live here in the woods, and so we've got the squirrels up and down the trees, and two squirrels chasing each other, and they go out and they're picking up all these acorns and burying them. Well, our eagle is back. Our eagle named Charlie, he's back. He comes back every year, and I don't know where he goes when he's not here, but we haven't seen a squirrel in weeks.
Yeah, I saw two today.
Oh, you did? Well, maybe Charlie's gone. Did I call him Ernie?
No,
His
he's
name's
not.
Charlie.
He was down at the pond, and I saw him grab something
Uh-oh.
and flew off.
Oh, no.
So I think there went one squirrel.
Oh my,
there,
oh my. All right, well, we better stop this. We could talk all day, I'm telling you.
We'll be back next Sunday.
To finish Proverbs 6:12 through 35.
Whatever. But anyway, y'all have a blessed week. Thanks again for all the birthday wishes. I was blown over by all that, you know. I appreciate that. But anyway, we will see you next Sunday, and y'all have a blessed week.
Bye.
Bye, guys.